You don't want to be the chicken in the factory farm. Hey, today we're going to talk about 3 ways to create more space for you. It's really important to have space to move around, to have space to do stuff. So, I'm a shaman. I like to learn from nature. So, we're going to talk about the analogy of the chicken and a rooster, because we can learn so much from analyzing nature. Everything humans make is based on nature. So, like I said, you don't want to be the chicken in the factory farm. The chicken in the factory farm can't figure out what's going on because there's too many everything. There's too much of chicken around them. They can't walk, they can't move, they can't do stuff. They don't have space, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work. They can't hear themselves because there's so many chickens around them talking, right? It doesn't work. And the 3 ways we're going to talk about that you can create more space is speak up, take action, and make connections. So, you don't want to be a chicken in the factory farm. What do you want to be? Well, first things first, when we're talking about chickens and roosters, forget about the genitals and the gender, and you can be the rooster, you can be the chicken, you are the rooster in some situations, you're the chicken in other situations, so don't worry about male and female and all of that. So that's how we learn, right? When we can look at things without our boxes, we can learn all kinds of things from everything. So you want to be either the chicken that makes connections and says, oh, well, this person is inspiring to me. This person knows what they want. They're claiming space. I like that space that they've created. I'm going to go and be in that space and have some fun. Or you want to be the rooster who says, you know what? I know what I want. I'm going to claim some space. I'm going to just and say, yeah, this is who I am. This is who I want to be. This is space. I get to have my space, And then maybe other chickens come around and say oh, that's good. And, a chicken, a rooster doesn't have to be a person, A rooster could be like a story. And we all come together to listen to a good, inspiring story that helps us move forward, right? The chicken in the factory farm, 40,000 different chickens in one freaking barn. It's insane. You can't hear the story. It's hard to get inspired in a factory farm. It's hard to get food in a factory farm. So, if you can step up and be the rooster, you can be like, I know what I want. I get to shine. So, the first thing to create more space, speak up, So, really practically, what I find is that what I found a long time ago, I would wait for other people to tell them what they wanted, and then I would start thinking about what I wanted. And it was already influenced, and you sort of compromise towards where someone else is going. It's good to think about, what do you want? What do you want before you listen to what someone else wants sometimes. It can be good to sometimes first listen to someone else, but you need to also find moments where you're like, well, this is what I want. I know in this case exactly what I want. Sorry, I'm talking so fast. I know what I want, and so I'm gonna say, this is what I want. Speak up, allow yourself to be heard. Allow yourself to be noticed and say, this is what I want. And then you can talk with the other person oh, well, and what do you want? Okay, you want this, I want that. How can we make that work? But if you skip the speaking up about what you want, then you end up constantly following what other people are doing. And that's kind of like the chicken in the factory farm that's just doing what all the other chicken are doing, right? Sometimes it's nice to be the chicken in the factory farm. It's nice to be part of a large group and get something done together, you know? And there's this human, and the human provides you with food, and the human says, this is what we're gonna do, and we all just follow because we're all like, yeah, this is good. You know, it's a factory farm is kind of like a really large chicken pen. But, you know, like, make the decision in the moment, like, what is the appropriate thing in this situation? Now, you also want to make connections. So that's the second way that you can create more space for yourself, is make connections. Now, the chicken in the small chicken pen, what they do is they say, well, this rooster has a good idea. This story is a nice direction to go in. This thing is something that I like. I want to stick around with it. I want to interact with it regularly, you know? So the chicken makes connections as well. This is a thing that I want to make a connection with. This is a thing I want to work with. It's just making a decision for what do you find valuable? What do you find preferable? And so sometimes you follow someone who has a good idea. Or sometimes you decide, you know, this is the food I like. I'm going to just hang around at the source of this particular food and get it every day. It's just making preferences, you know, making connections with others and saying, okay, we get to work as a team on this particular thing, you know. A small chicken pen is kind of like a tribe, and maybe there's one person who's doing the speaking and who's doing all the loud stuff, and then there's a bunch of others who are doing some of the other tasks, you know. We all are valuable to this tribe, to this whole, you know, we're all needed. But that's making connections. You can work together with others, and that creates space for you. And then we have the third way, and the third way is take some action. As you take action, as you do things that you want to do, you are creating more space because you are saying, well, this is something that I get to do. This is something that I do. You are figuring out what you want, thereby you are widening your perspective of what is possible. By taking action, you notice, oh, okay, this is something I can do. Is it something that I like? Well, maybe I like that bit, but I didn't like that bit. So now you have more things to work with. You can create more space of like, this is the stuff that I want. This is the sort of context I want to be able to move in. So taking action also shows others, oh, okay, apparently you do that. I'll leave you to it, you know? You create space for yourself. You thereby allow others to create space. And maybe you're taking up a bunch of space and it gets other people to be like, well, now I feel constricted in a chicken factory farm. I want to break out too. And then they create space for themselves, right? So sometimes you asserting your space, taking up more space, can help others to say, you know what, I also need my space. So the thing is, follow what you want, because when you follow your joy, your passion, your purpose, other people can be like, oh, if that's really your stuff, then what is really my stuff that I really want to stand for and say, I'm loud, I'm gonna coo and say, this is who I am, you know? So, summing up, we can learn from chickens and roosters about speaking up, saying what you want, about taking action and doing what you want, doing things that matter to you, doing things that you want to do, and allowing yourself to be seen, allowing yourself to experiment and figure out what it is that you want, and make connections, you know? Work with something, work with someone, work with people. Find some inspiring story, find some stuff that you like and say, okay, this is what I like. I'm just gonna work with this thing. You make a connection with a thing that you're gonna work with, or you make a connection with a person, with a teacher, with a story that you want to go after. So that's a bunch of the things that we can learn from chickens and roosters. And there's so much more we can learn from chickens and roosters and life. But that's all for today. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I encourage you to speak up, take some action, and make some connections. Have fun! Bye.